Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who's out there watching, and I don't care. There it is. What we're going to do right now is we're going to do a live table read of It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And it's so much fun that only 4 of us were able to show up, but that's fine. Everybody else can sit at their house and with their families and go, man, I wish I could have been there for that thing. But you know what? Here's what's going to happen. We're gonna air it live tonight as we're doing it, and then we're taking it off the air, just like back in the olden times when you had to catch it as it was airing, or you missed it for a
This will be like the Orson Welles Halloween War of the Worlds. This is going to go down in the annals of broadcasting.
Yeah, it's going to be like and now on Halloween we'll post it appropriately that day. But between now and then, if you ain't watching it now, you got nothing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's go around the horn here and introduce the Classics Track players, starting one internet to my left. Kevin.
Hello. I'm Kevin from the Flopcast, a longtime participant here on the Sci-Fi Classics Track. I love these old Peanuts specials, so delighted to be here for some seasonal silliness.
And one Kevin below, that's the units of measurement that we use. One Kevin below you.
Hey, I'm Kevin from Best Stuff in the World and Gleaming the Tube, and I too love few things more than a holiday special, so I'm excited to be here.
And one Kevin to the left, to the right of you, Chace.
I have negative Kevins, I'm afraid, but I'm Chace Ambrose, a longtime contributor and fan to the Classics Track at DragonCon. And just love Peanuts, and I'm excited to be here.
Almost every photo of me when I was a Ute, like when I was 2 or 3, has me in a full sweatshirt, and God forbid why they put me in a giant sweatshirt when I was clearly. So I guess I must have just been pouring sweat the entire time. But a sweatshirt that had the Sopwith camel on it. And that was all I wore. Probably until I turned like 18, I think. But right now we're going to do a table reading of It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Woo! Now, I guess I'll narrate. Realistically, there's 4 kind of main speaking parts in this special. You've got your Charlie Brown, your Linus Van Pelt, your Lucy Van Pelt, and your Sally Brown. There's other kids too. I think we could divide amongst each other. But let's say out of those 4, Joe, do you have a favorite?
No, I'm good. Yeah, y'all.
Okay, let's say you're going to be Charlie Brown, Kevin, Linus,
All right.
Chace. Do you want to be Lucy or Sally?
Lucy.
Okay, Lucy Van Pelt. I guess I'll do Sally, and then going around again. Joe, you're going to do Frida. Kevin, you're going to do Violet. Chace, you're going to do Patty.
Yeah.
I'm going to do Schroeder. I think Schroeder has 1 line in this.
Oh.
Joe, you're going to do Pigpen,
Yes.
and Kevin, you're going to do Shermie.
It's Pigpen is the role that I was born to play.
And the I think my note next to Shermie is like, who ? He barely appears after this.
I forgot he was in this. I know he was in Christmas, but
they had already brought him in and then promptly did nothing with it. What
It's
year did this program come out?
66, I believe.
Oh,
yeah, I think this is in my estimation, this is the second best of the Peanuts specials.
yeah.
I think I think you've got your big three: your Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas,
Yep.
and obviously Flash Beagle.
Yep.
I think that's the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, when they put
Peanuts
Jennifer
specials.
Beals in charge of the Charlie Brown universe, we got Flash Beagle.
All right.
Okay,
should we
here
get
we
this
go then. Let's
party
let's
started?
work this out.
I'm going to play the music again because it's autumn. Linus Van Pelt and his sister Lucy exit their house. Linus finds an apple on the ground, picks it up, and takes a bite. Huge swaths of this special are just visual that I'm going to be describing. Then throws it in a trash bin. Then Linus finds leaves on the ground and kicks them. Then they stop at a pumpkin patch. Linus finds a small pumpkin and shows it to Lucy. Lucy shakes her head no. Linus finds a medium pumpkin and shows it to Lucy. Lucy shakes her head no and points to the pumpkins. Linus finds a large pumpkin and shows it to Lucy. Lucy nods her head vigorously yes while patting the pumpkin. Then they leave to their house and go through a fence. Linus can't get the pumpkin through, so he rolls the pumpkin around the fence. He tries to slow it down so he doesn't hit Lucy, but he rolls with the pumpkin and crashes into the front steps. Lucy glares at him. She uses body language to tell him to bring it in. Linus brings the pumpkin in, puts it down on sheets of paper. He wipes his head.
Phew.
Lucy comes in with a knife and stabs the pumpkin on the head and cuts it in a circle, and she takes one of the insides out.
Oh, you didn't tell me you were going to kill it.
Opening credits. Scene fades to Lucy and the gang going trick-or-treating. Bats come out of an old house. Floating pumpkins surround them. Skeletons appear behind them. A black cat appears in front of them. Row! And a witch is chasing them. The gang run into a pumpkin patch and hide. They look up to see if it's safe. It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown title appears. Written by Charles M. Schultz title appears. An owl then flies towards the screen. Blackout. Little Debbie Zinger commercial. The scene fades to Snoopy blowing on a leaf and blowing into a pile of other leaves being raked by Charlie Brown. Charlie?
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
It can be. All right. Thanks, old pal.
Snoopy wags his tail and the scene cuts to Linus licking a yellow spiraled sucker, and he looks at the off-screen pile of leaves.
Charge!
Linus then runs towards the pile of leaves. He jumps real high, lands in the leaves butt first.
Never jump in a pile of leaves with a wet sucker.
Enter Lucy with a football.
Oh,
Say, Charlie Brown, I got a football. How about practicing a few place kicks? I'll hold the ball and you come running and kick it.
oh, brother. I don't mind the dishonesty, but I have as much mind your opinion of me. You must think I'm stupid.
Oh, come on, Charlie Brown.
No,
I'll hold it steady.
no.
Please.
You just want me to come running up to kick that ball so you can pull it away and see me land flat on my back and kill myself.
This time you can trust me. See, here's a signed document testifying that I promise not to pull it away.
Huh. It is signed. It's a signed document. I guess if you have a signed document in your position, you can't go wrong. This year, I'm really going to kick that football.
Charlie Brown runs up, tries to kick the football, but Lucy pulls it away again. Charlie goes flying in the air, screaming, and drops the document and lands on his back with a big thud. Lucy catches the document.
Peculiar thing about this document, it was never notarized.
Scene fades to the Van Pelt house. Linus is writing.
Dear Great Pumpkin, I'm looking forward to your arrival on Halloween night. I hope you bring me lots of presents.
Charlie Brown enters.
Who are you writing to, Linus?
This is the time of year to write to the Great Pumpkin. On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of his pumpkin patch and flies through the air with his bag of toys to all the children.
You must be crazy. When will you stop believing in something that isn't true?
When will you stop believing in that fellow with the red suit and white beard that goes ho, ho, ho?
obviously separated by their denominational differences.
You must get discouraged because more people believe in Santa Claus than you. Well, let's face it, Santa Claus has had more publicity. But being number 2, perhaps you try harder.
Snoopy enters and giggles and laughs at Linus's letter, making Snoopy noises.
Snoopy noises!
Linus glares at him, but Snoopy walks to where Lucy is and is still laughing. Lucy picks him up and throws him. She enters the room Linus is in and finds him writing to the Great Pumpkin. She grabs him by the collar.
Not again! Writing a letter to a stupid pumpkin? You made me the laughing stock in the neighborhood. All they talk about is my little brother who writes to the Great Pumpkin. You better cut it out right now or I'll pound you.
There are 3 things I learned never to discuss with other people: religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin.
Patty enters.
You're wasting your time. The Great Pumpkin is a fake.
Everyone tells me you are a fake, but I believe in you. P.S. If you really are a fake, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Sally enters. What are you doing, Linus?
I'd rather not say. You might laugh.
Oh, I'd never laugh at you, Linus. You're so intelligent.
I'm writing to the Great Pumpkin.
You say the cutest things.
On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of the pumpkin patch. He flies through the air and brings toys to all the good little children everywhere. Would you like to sit with me in a pumpkin patch on Halloween night and wait for the Great Pumpkin?
Oh, I'd love to, Linus.
What is going on here? What are you trying to do to my little sister?
Linus puts the letter into an envelope and closes the envelope. He walks out the front door to mail the letter. On the way, he passes Lucy.
And how do you think you're going to mail that letter?
Lucy and Linus exit their house and stop at a tall mailbox.
You can't possibly reach the mailbox, and I'm not going to help you.
Linus gets an idea. He throws the side of his blanket he is not holding on to. He opens the mailbox with his blanket, throws the envelope the opposite way of the blanket. The envelope flies, kind of does a loop-de-loop, and goes into the mailbox. Linus pulls the blanket and closes the mailbox. Linus exits. Charlie Brown enters with a sheet of paper.
Hey, I got an invitation to a Halloween party.
Charlie Brown dances.
Is it the invitation to Violet's party, Charlie Brown?
Yes, it's the first time I've ever been invited to a party.
Charlie Brown, if you got an invitation, it was a mistake. There are 2 lists, Charlie Brown, one to invite and one not to invite. You must have been put on the wrong list.
Man, Lucy is ice cold. Lucy exits. Linus enters with a sign that says, "Welcome, Great Pumpkin." Linus exits. A lot of this is visual. Then Linus enters again with the sign and stops at a pumpkin patch. Scene fades to Sally making her costume. She is cutting 2 eyeballs into a ghost costume. When she's done, she picks up the ghost costume. Sally squeals in fright. Ah! Scene cuts to Lucy, Violet, and Charlie Brown.
A person should always choose a costume that is in direct contrast to her own personality.
Lucy puts on a witch costume. Sally enters with her ghost costume. Is Linus taking me to the party?
That stupid blockhead of a brother of mine is out in the pumpkin patch making his yearly fool of himself.
Boy, is he strange.
But maybe there is a Great Pumpkin. Violet is putting on her ghost costume.
Every year, Linus misses tricks or treats, and then the Halloween party.
Violet puts her ghost costume completely on.
He'll never learn.
Do I get to go trick-or-treating this year, big brother?
Well, sure, Sally.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. How do we do it?
All you have to do is walk up to a house, ring a doorbell, and say tricks or treats.
Are you sure it's legal?
Of course it's legal.
I won't want to be accused of taking part in a rumble. Sally puts on her ghost costume and puts her hands in the eye holes. Lucy pulls up the ghost costume. Sally is completely in her costume now. Charlie Brown puts on his ghost costume, but his costume has more eye holes than it should have.
Oh, good grief.
Frida and Shermie enter, and they are both in costume.
Is that you, Patty?
No.
Where's Charlie Brown?
Here I am. I had a little trouble with the scissors.
Pigpen enters with his ghost costume. His is dirty.
They'll never guess it's me under here.
Hello, Pigpen. Glad you could make it.
How did you know it was me?
Snoopy enters.
Pigpen, by the way, is a 47-year-old cab driver. I don't know.
What in the world kind of costume is that?
He's a World War I flying ace.
Now I've heard of everything. All right, everybody, we'll go trick-or-treating and then over to Violet's for the big Halloween party.
Everyone heads for the door, cheering. Snoopy marches along. Charlie Brown holds the door open for him and salutes him. When Snoopy gets outside, he walks the opposite way the gang is going. Scene cuts to the gang walking to the pumpkin patch where Linus is.
Hey, have you come to sing pumpkin carols?
You blockhead, you're going to miss all the fun, just like last year.
Don't talk like that. The Great Pumpkin knows which kids have been good and which kids have been bad. You'll be sorry.
Oh, good grief.
He'll come here because I have the most sincere pumpkin patch, and he respects sincerity.
Sally removes her ghost sheet. Do you really think he'll come?
Tonight, the Great Pumpkin rises out of the pumpkin patch. He flies through the air and brings toys to all the children of the world.
That's a good story.
You don't believe in the story of the Great Pumpkin? I thought little girls always believed everything that was told to them. Oh, no. I thought little girls were innocent and trusting.
Welcome to the 20th century.
All right,
Linus.
once and for all, are you coming or are you staying? We can't waste all night.
Everybody goes off with Sally following them. She sees Linus still waiting for her and runs back.
I'm glad you came back, Sally. We'll just sit here in this pumpkin patch and you'll see the Great Pumpkin with your own eyes.
If you try to hold my hand, I'll slug you.
Each year, the Great Pumpkin rises out of the pumpkin patch that he thinks is the most sincere. He's got to pick this one. He's got to. I don't see how a pumpkin patch can be more sincere than this one. You can look around and there's not a sign of hypocrisy. Nothing but sincerity as far as the eye can see.
The scene then cuts to the tricks-or-treaters going to get candy. This is the only thing I've ever seen that calls it tricks or treats.
Tricks
by
or
the way.
treats. Very weird.
Everyone, trick or treat.
Tricks or treat, it's Halloween.
Hi.
An
I have
unseen
an
person gives Lucy candy.
Can I have an extra piece of candy for my stupid brother? He couldn't come with us because he's sitting in a pumpkin patch waiting for the Great Pumpkin.
The person gives her an extra piece of candy for Linus.
It's so embarrassing to have to ask for something extra for that blockhead Linus.
Everyone checks their bags.
I got 5 pieces of candy.
I got a chocolate bar.
I got a quarter.
I got a rock.
Trick
Trick
or
or
treat.
treat. More candies are given and bags are checked again.
Gee, I got a candy bar.
Boy, I got 3 cookies.
Hey, I got a package of gum.
I got a rock.
Trick or treat, I got a popcorn ball.
I got a fudge bar.
I got a pack of gum.
I got a rock. And I... Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy that I got to do that. And back to the show.
By the way, said Shermie, whatever happened to the World War I flying ace?
Oh, he's probably getting ready to take off in his Sopwith Camel on the next dawn patrol. His mission is to find the Red Baron and shoot him down. Here's the World War I flying ace climbing into the cockpit of his Sopwith Camel. Contact, he shouts.
Snoopy starts his engines and the plane begins to move. He gets across the bumpy ground and takes off in the air. There's a whole bit where he's fighting the Red Baron. Snoopy's cursing the Red Baron, reaches around the ground, goes across a dangerous place.
Here's the World War I flying ace imagining he's down behind enemy lines, making his way across the French countryside.
Snoopy crawls through the dangerous place, sleeps on a haystack before continuing towards his goal. The scene goes back to the
World
tricks or
War I
treaters.
fighter pilot cosplay.
Come on, let's get going. It's time for the Halloween party.
The scene goes to the trick-or-treaters going to Linus and Sally, who are still in the pumpkin patch, waiting for the Great Pumpkin.
Has the Great Pumpkin been by?
What blockhead sitting in a pumpkin patch in the middle of the night? You've missed trick or treat. Now you're going to miss the Halloween party.
What a way to spend Halloween.
Ha 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 ha. You think you're so smart. Just wait until the Great Pumpkin comes. He'll be here. You can bet on that. Linus knows what he's talking about. Linus knows what he's doing. All right, Linus, where is he?
He'll be here.
I hope so. I have my reputation to think of, you know. And just think of all the fun we're missing.
Just look. Nothing but sincerity as far as the eye can see.
The scene goes to Violet's house for the Halloween party, where we hear kids cheering, and Charlie Brown is running with a black mask on, but Violet stops him.
Charlie Brown, you'll have to model for us.
Me? You want me to model?
Sure, Charlie Brown, you'll be the perfect model.
Charlie Brown tries to get away, but Patty makes him sit on a stool.
Turn him around.
If we shape the eyes like this, and the nose like this, and a mouth like this.
Lucy draws the face on the jack-o'-lantern the same way Violet drew it on the back of Charlie Brown's head.
Yeah, that's the way. Thank you, Charlie Brown. You are the perfect model.
The scene then goes to Snoopy, still getting across the French countryside. When he notices some signs in French, then he swims through a river, and he begins running while some explosions are heard. And then he goes to an old house, climbs in the window, although it's actually Violet's Halloween party, and the kids are cheering.
All right. Let's bob for apples. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, Lucy, you should be good at this. You have the perfect mouth for it.
Boom!
Schroeder doesn't play around. Lucy then starts bobbing for an apple when all of a sudden she pulls Snoopy along with her.
Blah! My lips touch dog lips. Blah, 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 poison dog lips. Blah, blah, blah.
Snoopy then walks over to Schroeder and his piano, waiting to hear some music from the piano. Schroeder starts to play a happy tune on the piano, which makes Snoopy dance happily. Then Schroeder starts playing a sad tune on his piano, which makes Snoopy feel sad and start to cry. Schroeder starts playing another happy tune, which makes Snoopy dance again. Then another sad tune. Snoopy starts to cry. He keeps crying until he starts howling. And then he starts crying his way all the way out of Violet's house. Down the stairs, wiping his eyes with his scarf, he runs over to hide behind a tree. And he crawls over to the pumpkin patch where Linus and Sally still wait. If anyone had told me I'd be waiting in a pumpkin patch on Halloween night, I'd have said they were crazy.
Just think, Sally, when the great pumpkin rises out of the pumpkin patch, we'll be here to see him.
Linus and Sally hear some rustling, which surprises them.
What's that? What's that? I hear the great pumpkin.
The noise gets louder and louder until Linus thinks that the silhouette rising up is the great pumpkin.
There he is. There he is. It's the great pumpkin. He's rising up out of the pumpkin patch.
Linus moans as he faints, but the dark silhouette just turns out to be Snoopy rising out of the pumpkin patch.
What happened? Did I faint? What did he leave us? Did he leave us any toys?
I was robbed! I spent the whole night waiting for the great pumpkin when I could have been out for tricks or treats. Halloween is over and I missed it, you blockhead! You kept me up all night waiting for the great pumpkin, and all that came was a beagle! I didn't get a chance to go out for tricks or treats, and it's all your fault! I'll sue! What a fool I was! I could have had candy and apples and gum and cookies and money and all sorts of things, but no! I had to listen to you, you blockhead! What a fool I was! Tricks and treats come only once a year, and I missed it by sitting in a pumpkin patch with a blockhead! You owe me restitution! Sally then walks angrily away from Linus as he gets shocked over what's happened. And then he talks to Charlie Brown.
You've heard about fury and woman scorn, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Well, that's nothing compared to the fury of a woman who has been cheated out of tricks or treats.
All the kids, including Sally, walk away from Linus, leaving him in the pumpkin patch all by himself.
Hey, aren't you going to wait and greet the great pumpkin, huh? It won't be long now. If the great pumpkin comes out, I'll still put in a good word for you. Good grief. I said if. I meant when he comes. I'm doomed. One little flip like that can cause the great pumpkin to pass you by. Oh, great pumpkin, where are you?
Scene transitions to Lucy getting some sleep as her alarm clock goes off at 4 a.m. She realizes that it's 4 in the morning, gets out of bed, walks over to Linus's room, find out Linus isn't there. She then goes outside wearing warm clothes to find him. She finds him laying shivering in the pumpkin patch, trying to keep warm with his blanket. Lucy picks him up and walks him back inside. Then she takes him back to his bedroom, where she takes off his shoes and socks and lays him down in his bed, where Linus falls fast asleep. Then Lucy puts a blanket over him and goes back to her room so she can go back to sleep too. Scene transitions to Charlie Brown and Linus having a conversation about how Halloween was for them on the wall on the day after Halloween.
Well, another Halloween is come and gone.
Yes, Charlie Brown.
I don't understand it. I went trick-or-treating. All I got was a bag full of freaking rocks. I suppose you spent all night in the pumpkin patch and the great pumpkin never showed up?
Nope.
Well, don't take it too hard, Linus. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, too.
Stupid? What do you mean, stupid? Just wait till next year, Charlie Brown. You'll see. Next year at this time, I'll find a pumpkin patch that is real sincere, and I'll sit in that pumpkin patch until the great pumpkin arrives. He'll rise out of that pumpkin patch, and he'll fly through the air with his bag of toys. The great pumpkin will appear, and I'll be waiting for him. I'll be there. I'll be sitting there in that pumpkin patch, and I'll see the great pumpkin. Just wait and see, Charlie Brown. I'll see that great pumpkin. I'll see the great pumpkin. Just you wait, Charlie Brown. The great pumpkin will appear, and I'll be waiting for him.
The end. Happy Halloween, everyone.
That was a tour de force for man, I'd forgotten. It's been so Linus and Lucy just go and Sally just lose their minds. And
the Sally rant is spectacular.
It's
my gosh.
It's like a mammoth play.
Well, and I'll say this: I really appreciated the chance to get to do Lucy because I get to say blockhead and mean it, and that's not something that I ever had the chance to do. Is like, you blockhead?
Yeah.
And I didn't. I as we started doing it, I was like, oh wait, I get to say I got a rock, and that is one of my all-time favorite things. That sums up that poor bastard Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so bad for him sometimes.
We were talking about this on the Flopcast this week, how when you think about it, how at every one of those houses, these are adults giving out the candy. Every one of those adults had a rock standing by,
waiting,
just in case that one kid in town that everybody hates comes along wearing his potato ghost costume. He's getting that rock.
I mean, it's not just that the other kids hate him. The adults actively had a plan.
Was it a coincidence? Did they each think of that individually? Was there a town meeting and this was a group effort?
I'm wondering if I should get some rocks in case some kid shows up in a particularly poor costume this year.
Which kid are you talking about? Oh, the brown kid. No, not the girl. What? No, the girl. She's but the boy. Charlie, is that his? Yeah, that kid is getting a rock.
See, I'm wondering if it's just like, oh, that costume sucks. It's got 15 holes. This kid gets a rock.
It always occurred to me that the trick-or-treating group from this show would make a great costume group at Dragon Con. And one year, a few years ago, I saw them. And they were across the lobby in the Sheraton, what was at that time the Sheraton from me. And they disappeared before I could get close to them. But it did happen at least one year.
Yeah, I've seen them at least twice.
Oh, nice.
In the years that I've been going. One year they were in the parade.
Oh, cool.
And that one was particularly cool. Because in addition to the Great Pumpkin, they also had a pumpkin, and I believe they had a Red Baron as well.
Oh, man.
That's fantastic.
Every year at Dragon Con, that first day, people come up and they start raving about the things they have seen. And then for the remainder of Dragon Con, I go and try to find those things. And I very rarely do.
But they're gone.
Pink Chewbacca I saw, and I chased him down, and somehow he vanished.
Like tears and rain.
I was thrilled. Yes, I was very excited. I did run into Pink Chewbacca this year, and it was beautiful.
My gracious. See, I got a message from Mr. Gary Mitchell.
Hey.
And, well, I guess it was from a Gary Mitchell saying, hey, it's happening, and I'm just going to let you guys do it. If Gary comes, we'll... So, Mr. Kevin Cafferty, why don't you guys want to do another one?
I got nothing else to do.
All right, I got a minute. What we'll do is I'll take this concoction that we're about to make, and I'll split it in half, or whatever. And I don't know math. I'm from Alabama, and we'll post the two of them separately. And Mr. Cafferty, tell us what we're about to do.
I also found the script to the season 2 episode of Xena Warrior Princess. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which is the one with the rapping vampires. Oh, they call them the Bacchae in the episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of television ever. It is quite. I remember seeing this episode. It was the first episode of Xena I ever saw, and like thinking, I gotta buy a TV. I can't be missing out on this.
This is when television really caught on among the general public. It was in the mid-90s, the birth of Xena, and we all ran out and bought ourselves a TV set.
That was the first time.
Again, there's sort of like, I'd say there's actually, this one probably has like 5 kind of main parts and then a bunch of villagers. So there's Xena, which I think, Joe, you're going to be Xena.
Yeah.
I think, Kevin, you'll be Gabrielle.
Okay.
Chace, you're going to be Joxer.
Okay.
Joxer.
I'm going to be Orpheus.
Is that the rapping vampire's name?
No, Orpheus is like the mythical figure Orpheus. He's kind of a severed head in this one.
Nice.
And Bacchus, who's kind of like the king of the vampires.
Okay.
Joe, you're going to be king of the vampires too?
Yeah.
Kevin, you're going to be the Bacchae.
The Bacchae. Okay.
The Bacchae. And I think there's like a thief 1 and a thief 2, and that'll be me and Chace.
Okay.
And this is like the shooting script, so I'm not going to narrate the stuff in parentheses, but I'll narrate the scene transitions and stuff.
This is like a real actual copy of the script that we're looking at here.
Usually for Dragon Con, I can put something together that's a bit easier to to work with, but I was on kind of a tighter deadline.
I love though that somebody somewhere at some point took the time to take that shooting script and photograph each page and then commit it to the internet. Thank you, person who did that umpteen decades ago. You, sir and or madam, have our thanks.
Let's see. Where's the Xena theme on here? Do I have it? I guess not. But to set the stage, I'm going to recite the opening credits from memory. It is a time of ancient gods, warlords, and kings. A land in turmoil cries out for a hero. She was Xena, a mighty princess forged in the heat of battle. The power, the passion, her courage will change the world. Okay, let's start this. We hear someone running, out of breath, fade in, exterior, woods, surreal angles, day. Widen to reveal the back of an unknown man darting around trees and over the bushes as he tries to escape. There are 3 wolves giving chase through the underbrush. With snarling jaws and dripping saliva, the wolves are out for a kill as they gain ground on their intended victim. We dissolve to exterior, country road day. Gabrielle stands, bathed in sunlight, near the edge of the woods. She looks in curiously. Behind her and out of earshot, Xena speaks with a concerned villager. She nods, then crosses back to Gabrielle as the villager scurries off.
And should I slip into my bikini top for this part?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'll be right back. What did he say?
3 more girls kidnapped from a neighboring village. That brings the total to 6.
Who would do this?
Shh. Listen.
They stand quietly for a beat, listening to the silence of the nearby woods.
I don't hear anything.
That's your answer. This is the Bacchae forest.
Hunting grounds for Bacchus, the god of wine, and his Bacchus followers. Then we should hear Orpheus. His music is said to tame the Bacchae.
And without it, these woods aren't safe.
So you think the Bacchae took those girls?
There's only one way to find out.
We follow Xena and Gabrielle into the woods with Argo. Argo, Xena's horse. Exterior, woods, day. Moments later, Xena and Gabrielle move cautiously through the woods.
Are the stories people tell about the Bacchae really true?
Some are, some aren't. What have you heard?
They say a single bite from a Bacchae turns a young innocent woman into a wild, soulless creature whose only allegiance is to the Bacchus. Once bitten, she's lured into his lair to drink his blood. If she does, there's no way to save her. She becomes a Bacchae forever.
Back in the same creepy woods, all looks quiet as we hear.
It's said that, well, she's just going on and on. It's said that Bacchae
Please.
women take many forms, sometimes roaming the forest as wolves.
Just then, Gabrielle's story comes to life as we see the wolves still in pursuit of the unknown man.
Driven by an unquenchable thirst for blood, they track their intended victim relentlessly.
The unknown man leaps a small boulder, barely ahead of the pursuing wolves. In his arm, he carries a bag.
Until they corner him and tear him limb from limb.
As the wolf closes in on his heels, the unknown man runs for all he's worth, crashing through the undergrowth. All is quiet as Xena and Gabrielle, however, continue down their path.
If you ask me, the stories are exaggerated. You know, made up to give people a good scare.
Suddenly, the unknown man, Joxer the Mighty, bursts out of the woods, crashing into Gabrielle and knocking her to the ground.
Help! Wolves!
He sprints past Xena and up a tree. Just then, the wolves bound out of the woods after him. Xena pulls Gabrielle behind her as 2 of the wolves surround them. A third wolf rushes to Joxer, now up the tree. Xena grabs her bullwhip.
Hell yeah. Stay behind me.
The wolves close in on Xena, baring their teeth. They circle, poised to strike. Meanwhile, Joxer, just out of reach, looks down at the wolf, who is barking and snarling.
Ha! Outsmarted you, you brainless, flea-bitten mutt!
In the middle of which, the branch he's on starts to bend, dangling him dangerously close to the wolf. It leaps, grabbing onto his boot.
Good doggy. Nice doggy. You sweet little pooch.
As he tries to shake himself free, Xena snaps her whip at the lead wolf, backing him off. But the other wolf advances. She counters with another whip snap, then finally lands a stinging blow to the lead wolf's snout. He whimpers. The wolves scuttle off into the forest. The third wolf, realizing he's alone, lets go of Joxer and follows the others. Xena and Gabrielle cross to Joxer as he climbs down from the tree.
Joxer, are you all right?
Me? Never better. Why you ask?
It could have been that cry for help.
Oh, that. All an act. The secret to fighting a wolf pack is wearing them down. I appeared defenseless to keep them on the hunt. Actually, I had those mongrels right where I wanted them.
Yeah. So what brings you to these parts?
A mission to save the world, and you?
Xena looks puzzled as Joxer hands her the bag.
A package from Orpheus to Xena.
Orpheus.
Xena looks at the bag.
What is it?
Oh, I'd say it speaks for itself.
With that, Xena reaches into the bag and pulls out that disembodied head of Orpheus. Eyes shut, face expressionless. Xena holds it by the hair. Gabrielle looks sick.
Orpheus.
Just then, Orpheus's eyes pop open and he lets out a blood-curdling scream. Off this horror, we go into the opening credits. Then we go back to Orpheus's scream continuing until he finds the word ouch. Joxer rushes over, taking Orpheus in his hands.
Never pick him up by his hair.
Joxer looks at Orpheus, smoothing his hair.
And he parts it on the right.
Xena, not amused by Joxer's antics, focuses on Orpheus.
Orpheus, what happened? Bacchus did this to you.
I thought you'd recognize his handiwork. Since we last met, I pledged my life to stopping Bacchus, and for a long time my music worked. But now he's cursed me. He took my body and left me eyes and ears to see and hear all of the horror he brings to the world. For as long as Bacchus lives on earth, I will live in agony.
Then it was Bacchus who took those innocent girls.
Yes, and tomorrow night he'll make them full-fledged Bacchae.
Unless we stop them, that's where I fit in. Orpheus and I have a plan to settle the score with that bloodsucker.
This, incompetent, was my only hope of finding you. You can go now, Joxer. Run along.
He doesn't mean that. Underneath it all, he's a likable guy. He's just got a big chip on his, you know what I mean.
You want my help?
I've hated you for a long time, Xena, and you're the last person I'd ask for a favor, but you're the only one who knows Bacchus well enough to do the job.
Do you still have your lyre?
I've kept it hidden in town with my friend Melodus. He can play it while I sing.
Knowing Bacchus, it won't be safe for long. Come on.
Not so fast, Xena. I want to remind you there are innocent lives at stake. Maybe this time you'll be more careful. Xena gives Orpheus a hard look. She's heard it before.
Find a way to make him presentable. Then we'll go.
Joxer and Orpheus exit. Gabrielle turns to Xena.
What was that all about?
My army fought Bacchus a long time ago. The day of the final battle, an innocent woman was caught between my army and Bacchus's forces. The fighting was fierce. We couldn't protect her. She was killed. I'm sure it was Bacchus who killed her, but Orpheus has always blamed both of us. That woman, Orpheus's wife.
Off of Gabrielle's surprised look, we go to Bacchus's lair, clothes on a fire, the only light in this otherwise dark, gloomy cave. Shadows play across jagged walls as we pan across to 3 sets of yellow eyes in the darkness. They move closer to the fire to reveal 3 wolves, the same one seen earlier. The first wolf suddenly morphs using the best computer-generated technology 1995 can bring you into a wild-eyed young woman, a Bacchae, seated by the fire. As she turns, we see a whip mark streaked across her face. This is Xena's work. The other wolves cross to her and begin licking her wounded face, close in on the whip mark as it miraculously disappears.
Do I do all the Bacchae?
We can.
Because I'll do it.
I think Bacchae's one is the only one with
Bacchus,
lines.
There's Bacchus and Bacchae
I think
1.
I think Joe is Bacchus.
Okay.
And you're Bacchae 1.
I'm Bacchae number 1. Gotcha.
Did you bring me the head of Orpheus?
No, master. He got away.
You fools! How could you let this happen?
He and his idiot companion were rescued by Xena.
Xena? It's been too long. She must have taken Orpheus back for the lyre. Call the others. I have a little job for you.
Dissolve to the road to Anthesteria. Gabrielle and Joxer follow Xena and Argo the horse. Up ahead, a Mardi Gras-like festival spills out into the village gates and onto the road. Gabrielle notices.
A festival. Looks like fun.
Yeah, every year the villagers dress up to scare away the Bacchae. They give a prize for the best costume. Guess we know who's winning this year.
Joxer gestures up in front of them to see Xena walking Argo. Hold on, Argo, then pan up to see Orpheus's head is now atop a scarecrow tied to Argo's saddle. He feels as ridiculous as he looks. Off his skull, we dissolve to Orpheus's house at night. Xena, followed by Gabrielle, Joxer, and Scarecrow Orpheus, enter a room filled with assorted musical instruments. Melodus? No answer. He must be in back. Xena crosses to a curtain, separating a back room. She opens it and they peer in. What they see causes them to react in pain and anger. No! Melodus!
I'm sorry.
The Bacchae did this?
And they've taken the lyre!
From the looks of things, they were just here.
Xena starts off. Gabrielle follows.
I'll go with you.
Nope. I need you to protect Orpheus. Without him, we don't stand a chance.
Xena rushes out, and off Gabrielle's distress, we dissolve to a worried Gabrielle looking out a window later for a sign of Xena. In the background, Joxer peruses the musical instruments with Scarecrow Orpheus.
You play all these?
Don't touch anything!
Didn't anyone ever tell you playing music is for sissies? Sword fighting, now there's a hobby. When I was a kid, I wanted to take lessons, but no, it's too dangerous. My mother wanted me to take music lessons. Can you believe it? Me, a musician?
You can be a warrior and a musician.
Right. Now Hydra makes a good house pet.
Meanwhile, Gabrielle hears the faint sounds of a melody playing outside. She looks outside to see villagers streaming inside the hall. A couple of pretty young women seem to be pulling a third woman into the hall against her will. Alarmed, Gabrielle quickly crosses past Joxer and Orpheus.
There's something I have to take care of. I'll be right back.
Gabrielle?
Joxer starts to get Orpheus and follow her, but it's too late. She's out the door. Gabrielle enters a room packed with villagers dancing and carrying on. Wine flows and the music is loud. She looks around but sees no signs of the woman in trouble. Alert to danger, she makes her way through the crowd when a hideous Bacchae startles her. She's about to scream when the Bacchae face comes off, revealing a sweet, innocent young woman. It was only a mask. The young woman laughs, then takes Gabrielle's hand and leads her to a second young woman. As the music blares, the women begin to dance seductively around Gabrielle. As they get closer, we notice the women wear identical wolf chokers. Maybe they're not so innocent after all. They spin around faster and faster. This is not in the script, but this is kind of the rap song with the chorus is, if you want the love, you gotta drink the blood. And it is like an astounding scene of television. Wow. Two other young women nearby wearing those same wolf chokers carry Orpheus's golden lyre.
Isn't it beautiful?
A few lovely notes sound from the lyre until two thieves step in front of them, blocking their path. Chace, I think you do thief 1.
Okay.
And I'll do 2.
Where I got lost. There we go. Need some help, ladies?
Yeah, that hunk of gold is too heavy for pretty things like you. The Bacchae exchange a wicked smile, then...
How nice. Come closer and we'll let you have it.
The thieves trade a look, like candy from a baby. Thief number 1 moves closer, grabbing the Bacchae by the wrist. He moves in for a kiss, but Bacchae 1 quickly morphs into a horrid Bacchae. Her eyes burn with unholy light. Her fangs extend fully like a serpent's. As the thief reacts in horror, the Bacchae opens her jaws and attacks him viciously, slicing him up and propelling him into a tree. The Bacchae turn their attention to thief number 2. They start towards him, about to strike when Xena flies in from a nearby boulder, landing a flying kick right at the Bacchae, sending her sprawling. She quickly rolls to her feet, turns to Xena and snarls.
That's a good look for you.
The thief spots the lyre. Ever greedy, he sneaks towards it as Xena uses a quick martial arts combination against the Bacchae. Meanwhile, another Bacchae rushes her from behind, jumping on Xena, jaws wide. She's about to sink her teeth into Xena as... I don't know why people ever thought there was some kind of like subtext in this show.
No,
I'm not seeing it from the script. Nope. Xena spins and we lose sight of the other Bacchae. Does she bite? Then with all her strength, Xena flips her attacker, sending her flying on top of the first Bacchae, incapacitating them for the moment. Thief number 2 grabs the lyre, racing up the hilly path towards the woods. He glances to check on his pursuers. No one. But as he turns back, the Bacchae is right in front of him. Ha ha! He screams and does a quick about face, but the other Bacchae is right there. What the? Before the Bacchae strike, hands grab thief number 2 and pull him away. The Bacchae quickly take the lyre and escape into the dark woods. They're gone. Thief number 2 now safely with Xena, thankful to be alive. I gotta find a new line of work. Interior village hall at night. Joxer enters to find the hall with the same crowded room of masked revelers. He holds a pole in his hands as he scans the room.
Do you see her?
Pan up the pole to find Orpheus's head, scanning the room. I don't see anything. Wait, there she is, in the middle of the room with 2 women.
Just as I thought. Bacchae, those crafty little harlots don't fool me.
Joxer quickly shoves Orpheus's pole into the ground.
I'm going after her. Don't move.
Funny. Joxer rushes into the crowd. Meanwhile, Gabrielle is still dancing with the same woman. As they spin around, out of Gabrielle's view, we see just what might be Bacchae fangs. Meanwhile, Joxer continues his way through the crowd. He spots Gabrielle and the women moving in on her. Joxer makes a beeline for her.
Gabrielle, I'll save you.
He pushes through the crowd, shoving people aside, drawing his sword.
Unhand her.
He arrives just in time to pull Gabrielle to safety.
What are you doing?
Are you kidding? They were Bacchae.
Joxer, I'd know a Bacchae if I saw one.
They continue on towards another part of the hall. Joxer and Gabrielle, now with Orpheus, meet up with Xena at the entrance to the hall. Did you get the lyre, Xena?
No, I found the Bacchae who took it, but someone else got in my way. Don't worry, we'll get it back.
So let me get this straight. First we find the lyre, then we find someone to play it. Orpheus sings, the Bacchae sleep. Meanwhile, the rest of us fight Bacchus, kill him, and then free the innocent girls.
Exactly.
Sounds easy enough.
Don't be a fool, Xena. Bacchus has the lyre safely in his catacombs by now. If you go in there, he'll kill you.
I'm willing to take that chance.
I couldn't agree more. That's been my strategy from the get-go. Stage a frontal assault, catch him off guard, and then run that he'll kill you part by me again.
Don't worry, Joxer. You're not going. Gabrielle, come on.
They start off. Joxer stops them.
Wait a minute. If she's going, I'm going. I assembled this team. Without me, you guys are nothing. Fine, my mistake. I guess you don't need someone who plays the lyre.
You?
I took the music lessons, all right?
Xena and Gabrielle exchange a look.
You play the lyre?
Hey, don't advertise. I have a reputation to maintain.
All right, let's go.
She gestures for Joxer to follow. Elated, Joxer joins them.
Oh, you won't be sorry.
As Xena turns to get Argo, we close on Xena's neck. We see a bloody wound. Joxer reacts. A Bacchae bite.
Do you see that? Blood on Xena's neck. She's been bitten.
Close in on Gabrielle's eyes wide as we fade out. Fade in. Night. Xena heads out of town, leading Argo with a scarecrow Orpheus aboard. Joxer and Gabrielle follow a few paces back.
So she has blood on her neck. She was in a fight. It could be anything. A scratch.
Believe me, I've seen every kind of wound encountered by man or beast, most of them on this very body. That, my friend, is a bite, specifically a Bacchae bite.
Then why hasn't she turned into one?
These things take time. Trust me, any moment now, Xena will be sporting a new set of teeth. Big ones. No wonder she didn't want me on the mission. She knows I'm the only man who can stop her.
Gabrielle rolls her eyes.
We can settle this right now. I'll just ask her.
Go ahead, but be warned. The wrong question could propel her into a Bacchaean frenzy.
Joxer grabs Gabrielle's fighting staff.
I'd better make a point at the end of this. It may come in handy.
Don't be ridiculous.
You're right. We don't want to draw attention to ourselves. Better act nonchalant.
Up ahead, Xena notices them lagging behind.
Hurry up. What are you two doing back there?
Nothing. Just sharpening our weapons.
Gabrielle grabs her fighting staff back and marches ahead of him.
Fine, go ahead. But when Xena bites your head off, don't come running to me.
Dissolve to the camp in the woods at night. Gabrielle cooks over an open fire. Joxer watches every move Xena makes. Gabrielle drops a knife near Xena, but before Xena can retrieve it, Joxer rushes over and picks it up.
I've got it. Can't be too careful with these things. One slip up and everyone's hacked into pieces. I tell you, hacked into pieces.
Xena looks at Joxer as if he's gone nuts, and then
I'll be right back.
we follow Xena as she gets up and crosses to Orpheus, who is resting against a tree.
You all right?
I'm a musician without my hands. How should I feel? Just because you've agreed to help me doesn't make us friends. My wife died in your war camp, and you did nothing to protect her.
There was nothing I could do. Most of my men had already fallen. I did my best to hold off Bacchus in hope that she could escape.
But you failed.
Eurydice shouldn't have been there in the first place.
I can still remember how beautiful she was the day of our wedding. Her eyes were so filled with promise. We were going to start a family. our children would grow up with the love of music. But you changed all that. I don't know why Eurydice thought she could befriend a ruthless warrior like you. Her blood is on your hands. Xena looks at Orpheus. There's nothing she can say. Resume Gabrielle and Joxer over the campfire.
Xena is not a Bacchae. I don't want to hear another word.
Fine, whatever you say.
Xena crosses past them, still angry about Orpheus. She grabs a knife and tosses it hard into a tree trunk. Joxer watches all of this, eyes wide.
Tell you one thing, no one sleeps soundly tonight.
Later, cut to Joxer sleeping soundly. Just then, behind him, Xena rises, an intense look on her face. She creeps towards Joxer with a knife. As she comes closer, a twig snaps. Joxer's eyes open. He hears something behind him. Xena draws the knife over his head. Joxer grabs for a sword, but it's just out of reach. Then Joxer turns as Xena plunges the knife right at him. He screams, rolling to avoid her, and turns to see Xena has stabbed a giant spider. She holds it up for him.
Spider.
Right.
Something wrong?
Wrong? What could be wrong? Now that you ask, not that I haven't handled my share of Bacchus, but what's the best way to kill them?
There's only one way to kill a Bacchae. We'll find what we need on the way to the catacombs. Get some sleep.
Xena crosses back, leaving Joxer alone, eyes wide open.
Sure, no problem.
Cut to Bacchus's lair. A number of wild-eyed Bacchae dance to frenzied drums as we pan across this spectacle of women. A wine goblet and a matching bowler on a table. A few Bacchae dance about the table, pouring wine in the bowl. As they dance, this continues for a beat. Then everything stops. We pan back to Bacchus. A cross between a handsome rogue and a satyr. He stands before his Bacchae. Gesturing, the drums sound again. This time the Bacchae rise and circle him. Bacchus takes a knife and cuts his hand, draining his blood and mixing it with the wine.
Oh, under the light of the Bacchae moon, our initiates will drink my blood and become one of us.
Everyone shrieks in delight, and then...
By this time tomorrow, there will be a new race of eternal Bacchae. And one of them will be Xena.
Cut to Xena and gang. It's daytime. Xena leads Argo and Orpheus, followed by Joxer and Gabrielle, on their way to Bacchus' lair. They weave a path through the woods. They climb a rocky hill. They pass along a ridge in the distance. The sun begins to set behind a lonely graveyard.
We can get weapons to fight the Bacchae up ahead.
Continues to Joxer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure that's me, but I'm lost again.
Oh, it's page 20.
Page 24.
What?
How did I get that far off? All right. Sorry, guys.
No.
Joxer says, where? I don't see anything. Let me know when you're caught up.
Page 24.
All right. I can't see a thing.
Xena, Gabrielle, Joxer, and Orpheus on Argo arrive to find a cluster of graves surrounded by twisted, leafless trees. A few partially decomposed corpses hang in the trees.
I think I'm still near it, but not on it. I think my numbers are wrong.
Yeah, well, it's page 24 is like what's typed
Oh,
on,
yeah,
on the original script.
Okay, there we go. That's
I noticed that too.
okay. All right. This is it. When you said weapons, I was thinking more of a blacksmith shop.
No, we need something special. Be quiet and don't step on a grave.
Xena and Joxer start into the graveyard. Gabrielle hesitates.
Dryads? What's a dryad?
Sworn enemies of Bacchus, a dryad bone through the heart, is the only way to kill a Bacchae.
Gabrielle slowly walks in, keeping her distance.
You mean we have to dig them up?
Not exactly.
Well, they're not going to jump out at us.
Follow Joxer until he stops. Something has caught his leg. Joxer looks down to see a bony hand reaching out from a grave and holding onto his boot. Just then, a second hand reaches for his other leg. Before he can say anything, the hands pull him into the grave. Xena and Gabrielle rush over, but he's gone.
Joxer!
Xena reaches into the grave, searching blindly until she gets a hold of Joxer's arm. She pulls. The arm comes out, but there's nothing connected to it. Gabrielle screams. Xena reaches back in for the rest of him until Joxer emerges, reaching out, both arms intact. Obviously, that was someone else's arm. He grabs for air. Xena grabs hold and pulls, but Joxer isn't moving.
It still got me. Pull harder.
Gabrielle grabs his other arm and pulls, but the Dryad pulls back. Joxer's caught in a ghoulish tug of war. Finally, Xena and Gabrielle yank him out. He's in one piece, but missing his boots.
That was close. My boots. They cost 50 diners. Stupid good-for-nothing bag of bones.
Just then, 3 more Dryads explode from the graves, flying winged skeletons with razor-sharp claws. These things may be dead, but that hasn't slowed them down any.
I mean that in a good way.
The Dryads swoop down. Gabrielle and Joxer dive for cover. Xena draws her sword. Dryad number 1 lashes at Xena. She tumbles to avoid the blow, then springs back to her feet. There's a whole fight scene, and then bones fly everywhere, and the Dryads fly off.
Go on, fly away, you cowards.
Xena takes Orpheus' head off the scarecrow and puts it in her pack.
Gather those bones. We have got to get going.
Joxer picks up a Dryad bone.
Nails. Wonder if they can kill Bacchae.
Curious, Joxer points the sharp bone at Xena's chest, testing her. Xena doesn't flinch.
You're not afraid of this?
No, should I be?
Well, no, it's just Gabrielle had this theory that you were a Bacchae. And, okay, so maybe I thought you were one too.
Xena shakes her head, then helps gather the bones.
Hey, you had blood on your neck. It was an innocent mistake.
Sorry to disappoint you.
I was just looking forward to that first kill is all. Yep, there's nothing like stalking a Bacchae to get the blood flowing. Bacchae blood, that is. You know, I love blood. The sight of blood, the smell of blood. In fact, if I don't spill blood at least once a day, I get cranky. And believe me, you don't want to see me cranky.
As Joxer speaks, we see Gabrielle's back. Something is happening to her. Then in an instant, she turns around, revealing the face of a horrid Bacchae. In one incredible leap, she dives at Xena. Xena notices just in time to dive out of the way. Gabrielle flies over her, flipping in the air and landing on her feet. She turns to face off again.
Gabrielle?
Wait, where's she going? Wait, did I just skip ahead? Good Lord.
We're at the top of the page.
Oh, I knew it. What did I tell you?
Xena tosses the pack with Orpheus to Joxer just as Gabrielle takes another running leap at her. Xena falls to her back, catching Gabrielle with her feet and propels over her head. Gabrielle tumbles behind Xena. They both jump to their feet.
It's all right, Gabrielle. I can help you.
But Gabrielle isn't listening. She makes a grab for the Dryad bones, but Xena quickly kicks them away. Gabrielle flies past her and spots a black, yawning cavity of tremendous size. This is the opening to the Bacchae catacombs. Gabrielle rushes towards it and escapes inside.
Gabrielle, wait!
Where's she going?
The catacombs. Come on.
Xena rushes in. Joxer picks up Gabrielle's fighting staff and follows. Catacombs at night. Joxer follows Xena as they creep along the dark passageway. Then we hear a muffled voice.
Did you hear that? Someone's trapped. Sounds like he's right on top of us.
Xena reaches for the pack on Joxer's back.
He is.
She takes out Orpheus. You're wasting time. We should be in Bacchus's lair by now.
We're looking for Gabrielle. She's turned into a Bacchae.
There's no time for that. We have to kill Bacchus before midnight. Forget the girl.
I can't do that.
I never should have trusted you, Xena. Once again, your selfish desires come first. Don't you understand? Bacchus is using Gabrielle against us. If you try to save her, you'll fall right into his trap.
Save your breath. I'm going after Gabrielle.
Then Bacchus has already won. Xena looks back into the dark catacombs, concerned for Gabrielle and the rest of the world. Moments later, Xena leads Joxer and Orpheus deeper into the catacombs. Joxer holds Gabrielle's fighting staff as he peers into the vast darkness.
I can't see a thing.
It's all right. Just follow me.
They continue on. Orpheus whispers to Joxer. That's right, Joxer. Follow Xena blindly to your death.
We know what we're doing. What do you mean?
Gabrielle's been bitten. It's only a matter of time before she bites Xena and makes her a Bacchae too. Xena's friendship with Gabrielle has blinded her to the mission. You have to take control, Joxer. The world is counting on you. Joxer considers, then throws down Gabrielle's fighting staff and takes out a dryad bone.
All right. If Gabrielle gets in our way again, I'll do what I have to do.
Joxer puts Orpheus back in the pack. As he passes, we see Gabrielle lurking in dark shadows. She scurries backward up the wall like a lizard in reverse. Xena leads Joxer deeper into the catacombs. Gabrielle is right behind them.
Keep your eyes open. She's around here somewhere.
Joxer grips his dryad bone.
Don't worry. I'm ready for anything.
Then a screech and a bat flies at Joxer. He screams and ducks. It flies off.
Just a bat.
Suddenly, when he least expects it, Gabrielle flies out of nowhere right at Joxer, lands on his back. Joxer spins out of control.
Xena!
Just before Gabrielle takes a chunk out of him, Xena flies at her, knocking her off. They slam against the cave wall and land on the ground. As they recover from the blow, Joxer relieves his dryad bone and goes after Gabrielle. He raises his arm to stake her, hesitates, and then...
Joxer, don't!
Xena rushes Joxer, knocking him over. Meanwhile, Gabrielle scrambles to her feet and flies at Xena. Xena avoids her with a series of backflips, but Gabrielle matches her move for move. The two friends go on it, Xena countering every Gabrielle attack with a defensive martial arts move. Finally, Xena grabs hold of Gabrielle and flips her high overhead. She lands hard, but quickly springs to her feet. Gabrielle looks at Xena with a menacing smile, then rushes deeper into the catacombs.
After her. Come on!
Xena chases after Gabrielle. Joxer breathes a heavy sigh, then follows. Xena and Joxer still chasing Gabrielle round a corner and put on the brakes. Xena peers down into a bottomless pit. Gabrielle's on the other side, standing with Bacchus. Suddenly, a few other Bacchae drop from the ceiling, surrounding Xena and Joxer.
You stay away from her.
Bacchus smiles, petting the wild-eyed Gabrielle like a dog.
She's mine now, Xena. Soon, you'll be mine too. Never. Don't resist me, Xena. With your beauty and fighting skills, you'll be the perfect leader for my growing legion of Bacchae. Join us.
The Bacchae begin a low chant of join us, join us, join us.
You don't charm me, Bacchus. I see the evil that's in you. I see how you destroy innocent lives. Well then, perhaps your little friend here will be more convincing. She's all yours.
With that, Gabrielle leaps over the pit, landing near Xena. She moves closer, revealing her fangs. The other Bacchae also move in, backing Xena up towards the pit.
Gabrielle, you're not one of them yet. You can fight him.
The Bacchae continue to advance. Xena takes out two dryad bones. She jabs at her attackers.
Give up, Xena! There's no way out. You won't kill your friend. Let her bite you and become a one of us.
Gabrielle draws nearer, opening her mouth, ready to taste Xena's blood. Xena backs closer to a pit. Then...
I'd rather die than join you. Joxer, take Orpheus and run. Gabrielle, I'm sorry.
With that, Xena takes a final step back and plunges into the bottomless pit. Commercial break. Joxer stands for a bit, in total shock.
Xena.
He regards the Bacchae who begin to surround him, then takes off into the dark catacombs. Bacchus looks into the pit, saddened.
What a waste!
Bacchae number 1 approaches him.
Shall we go after the others, Master?
Don't bother. It was Xena I wanted. Back to the lair! The Bacchae moon will soon appear. It's time to initiate your newest sisters.
The Bacchae shriek with delight as they fly off towards Bacchus's lair. We hear the sound of someone grunting. Ever hopeful, we move down into the pit to find Xena hanging from the wall by two dryad bones she jammed into the wall on her way down. The heat is intense as Xena uses the bones to slowly climb out. Elsewhere, Orpheus is held by a shaken and discouraged Joxer.
Can't believe she's gone.
Once again, Xena fails me. She should have died killing Bacchus.
You know something? You're one ungrateful, bitter man. Not even a man, just a head. Xena gave her life to help you, and this is the thanks she gets? You can find your own way out of here.
Joxer stomps off for a few steps, then stops. He has no idea how to get out of here.
Do you remember how we got in here?
It was my fault.
Okay, what were we talking about?
Eurydice. She went to Xena's camp that night because of me. I was so foolish, I thought I could defeat Bacchus on my own. I refused to team up with Xena's army. Eurydice knew I was wrong. She was just trying to save me from my own stupid pride.
You don't know how many times Xena saved my butt. I should have been there for her, backing her up, fighting those she-demons, but I had to guard you. That's it. My hands were tied.
Joxer hesitates. His blustering dissipates as Xena's demise really sinks in.
Who am I kidding? I didn't fight because I'm a coward. I always have been and I always will be. My mother was right. I should have been a musician.
You are a musician and a warrior, and you can stop Bacchus.
I can? How?
Play the lyre. Joxer and Orpheus trade looks. Are they really going to do this? Cut to the catacombs. Joxer carries Orpheus. Watch your step, Joxer. Just then, Joxer looks into the pit and sees someone.
Xena?
Joxer reaches down into the pit. Suddenly, a Bacchae drops from above, grabbing hold of Joxer. She's about to take him apart when Xena jumps out of the pit, wielding a dryad bone. She stops the Bacchae cold, driving a stake right through its heart. The Bacchae's face contorts in hard pain as the dryad bone burns through it with a nightmarish sizzle. She shrieks and falls back into the pit. Xena turns to the slack-jawed Joxer.
What are you waiting for? Come on.
Xena races towards Bacchus's lair. Joxer shakes his head in amazement, then falls in behind her. A single ray of moonlight in Bacchus's lair filters into the chamber. It shines down on Bacchus's bowl and goblet of wine and blood. Other Bacchae dance to the sound of beating drums. High atop a rocky precipice, Bacchus sits on his throne. Next to him is Orpheus's golden lyre. He sees the moonlight. Then,
it is time!
The drums stop. Bacchus flies off his throne down to the bowl and goblet, where the initiates, all dressed in white gowns, eagerly fall in line before him. One of them is Gabrielle. Bacchus takes the goblet, dips it into the bowl, then looks down at the innocent faces of the first initiate.
Drink, and you will be one with me forever.
The first initiate looks lovingly at Bacchus, completely transfixed. She takes goblet to her lips and drinks. Her body begins to tremble as her features turn horrific. She's been turned into a full-on Bacchae. The other Bacchae shriek in delight as, next in line, we see Gabrielle eagerly awaiting her turn. Cut to Xena leading Joxer and Orpheus through pathways. They follow the sounds of the ceremony and then enter. Joxer pulls Orpheus out of his pack and then...
Remember, your job is to find the lyre and play it as soon as you can. That'll give me time to reach Bacchus.
Right.
I owe you an apology, Xena. I just miss Eurydice so much. I guess I was looking for someone to blame.
I understand. Bacchus has caused you a lot of pain. Maybe now we can bring you some peace.
Xena and Orpheus exchange a smile, and then we cut to Gabrielle with vacant eyes, stepping into the glow of the moonlight. Bacchus hands her the goblet. She looks deeply into his eyes. A beat of hesitation, then...
Go ahead, child. Be one with me.
She raises the goblet to her lips, but before she can drink, a chakram, which is Xena's circular weapon that she throws, slices through the air, knocking the drink from her hand, ricochets off the cave walls, and back to Xena, standing at the mouth of the cave, flanked by Joxer and Orpheus.
She's not interested, Bacchus.
Bacchus smiles.
Xena! So glad you could join us after all. Get her!
With that, three evil Bacchae perched on the ledges above Xena drop down to surround her, but Xena spots the lyre.
Joxer, quick! On Bacchus's throne, the lyre.
Joxer follows Xena's gaze to the lyre at the other end of the cave. He takes off towards it as three Bacchae attack Xena at once. Fight scene. Xena grabs a jug of wine from a nearby table, chugs it, and throws it at the Bacchae. She grabs a torch. She does a bunch of other shit that I'm not going to read. Kicks off another Bacchae, struggles with her. Meanwhile, Bacchus refills the goblet for Gabrielle.
Drink! I command you.
Gabrielle tips the goblet to her lips as Joxer sneaks along the side of the cavern, finally arriving at the lyre. He puts Orpheus down beside him. Then,
What should I play?
as she fights a second wave of Bacchae, just then she sees Gabrielle put the goblet to her lips. Realizing there's nothing Xena can do, she calls,
Play, Joxer, now!
Near the lyre, Joxer is about to play when a Bacchae jumps on his back. Joxer wrestles her as Gabrielle tips the goblet towards her mouth, but with panic in his eyes and a Bacchae on his back. Joxer plays the lyre and Orpheus sings. Gabrielle swoons, dropping the goblet to the ground. She sinks to the floor along with the other initiates and the rest of the Bacchae. As the Bacchae surround Xena, they drop harmlessly to the floor. As the lyre music echoes in the cavern, he winces. It is the most horrible sound he knows. Enraged, he advances on Joxer, scaling the rocky slope in a matter of seconds. But Joxer keeps playing, unaware of Bacchus' presence. Then Orpheus spots him. Joxer, look out! But Bacchus is there, closed in on his face. As his evilness manifests itself, his face contorts in a horrid mess. Joxer looks at him and cowers.
Any requests?
Bacchus quickly swats him away from the lyre, sending Joxer flying. Bacchus turns to his Bacchae.
Awake, my Bacchae! It's time to feed.
The Bacchae slowly stir as Xena attacks Bacchus. She flies at the hulking god, sending him tumbling off his throne. Bacchus counters with a punch. Xena goes flying. Xena puts the dryad bone right into Bacchus' heart. Bacchus closes his eyes. Xena breathes a sigh of relief until he opens them again. Psych! Bacchus pulls the dryad bone from his chest.
Oh, Xena, don't you know? Only a Bacchae can kill me, and you're not one of us yet.
With that, Bacchus opens his mouth to reveal his giant set of fangs. He comes at Xena, but she flips out of his reach up to the plateau on which his throne sits. Gabrielle, seeing Xena, leaps into the air and grabs onto her. Gabrielle transforms into her Bacchae self, fangs ascended as she climbs up towards Xena's neck. Below them, Bacchus smiles with glee. He extends his arms and calls out to Gabrielle.
Bite her, and I will make her one of us.
Gabrielle reaches Xena's neck as Xena pulls a dryad bone from her pack.
Go ahead, Gabrielle. Do it.
In a moment that launched 1,000 fan fiction stories, Gabrielle chomps down on Xena's neck with an enormous set of fangs. Blood spurts out. Xena transforms into a horrid Bacchae. Xena and Gabrielle drop down towards Bacchus, the deadly dryad bone extended before them. Xena plunges the bone right into his heart. Bacchus cries out as his body convulses, and then he explodes in a ball of fire. Goodness gracious. As the explosion settles, we see Xena, Gabrielle, and the other initiates transform back into their old selves. The other Bacchae melt away into dust. Orpheus is now a whole man. He picks up his lyre and walks towards a bright light. He looks back to Xena gratefully, then disappears into the light. Xena, now joined by Gabrielle and Joxer, watch him go as we dissolve to the next day. Xena and Gabrielle, leading Argo, crest a hillside covered with flowers. We hear the beautiful sounds of a lyre.
What was that?
Eurydice's favorite tune. Sounds like she and Orpheus are together again.
That's music to my ears.
As they continue on, they hear...
Hey guys, wait up.
They turn and see Joxer.
So, what's next for us?
Next, we fight Medusa. You know, the one with snakes all over her head. One look and she turns the mightiest of men into stone.
Stone, huh? I almost forgot. It's my mother's birthday. I have to get home. I'll catch up with you guys later.
No problem.
Joxer starts off. They watch him go as...
You know, you almost died saving me back there. I want to do something to thank you.
Farewell, my warrior chums.
You just did.
They share a laugh, and as they continue on to another venture, we fade out to the end. And Joe, 2025, I think, is the 30th anniversary of Xena Warrior Princess.
Okay.
If you were planning anything for...
I mean, maybe I am. I forgot how good Xena was.
When that show was cooking, man, it was bonkers.
It was pretty good originally, but now that we've brought it to its final perfect form.
Oh yeah.
Just 4 dudes awkwardly stumbling through the script.
and now perfected. And yet somehow the special effects were still better on this one.
A little
Yeah.
better this time, yes.
Yeah.
I can't. Now I got to go find this episode and watch it. But lots of maybe next time in an action show, whoever is doing the action reads their page and a half of exposition about the what's happening. That's tremendous. But guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing this. This is always the most fun thing. Just right up there with all the other fun things we do. And Chace, Kevin, other Kevin, once again, we did it. Yep, we did it.
There was a thing that was going to be done, and we did it.
We saved Halloween, guys.
We saved it.
Yep.
People were like, now people are saying Happy Halloween again.
That's true.
That is true. But Kevin, other Kevin, Chace, thank you. Let's do this again sometime.
Let's find a much longer script next time, though.
Much longer. Like Titanic?
Yeah, let's do it.
David Lynch's Inland Empire.
Oh, God. English Patient.
Yeah.
That would work, yes.
My wife has an English Patient story. She went to see it when it came out. A big Voldemort fan, I guess. Future Voldemort fan. And she said it was an empty theater. And an old lady came in and sat right next to her for however many 4 hours the English Patient is, said nothing, and was just stock still watching the English Patient with my poor wife for 4 hours. I'm exaggerating. I'm going to find out exactly how long the English Patient was.
It certainly felt like 4 hours the
That's
one time that I suffered through it.
That's what my wife has what Steph has always said.
Yep.
Let's see. Epic romantic war drama. Sign me up. 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, it was rough.
Okay, put it on the docket. Is that also having its 30th anniversary?
As a matter of fact, that's the next year.
Oh, okay.
So we've got 2 years to prepare for the English Patient read along.
We'll let the Brit track take care of that one. It's the English Patient.
The whole afternoon. With an afternoon with the English Patient.
They're starting an English Patient track, I hear.
The whole track. And the funny thing is, with the English Patient, you have to be both English and patient.
Very patient.
Too true.
Guys, thank you. Another epic batch of geekiness that we have concocted, that we've brewed up in our Halloween cauldron for this year's Boo-labration. And now we'll come up with something else to do between now and Halloween. But we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for, in the future, watching this. I'm talking to you, sir, on the YouTubes later from now when we're taping it. You, sir, who clicked on this thing and said, you know what? I'm going to spend an hour and a half watching 4 dudes read a Xena script. That's what I want for my spare time. And you had an enjoyable evening, didn't you, sir? Yes, I know you did. We'll call you Larry. So, Larry, thanks for watching here in the future where you are, but we're not. And happy Halloween. Happy tricks or treats. What was that? It's one trick. It's always one trick. And just like the ponies. Thank you guys very, very much. We will see you all very soon. And happy Halloweens. Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Night, kids.
And stream. I got a rock, but the radio did not roll